Detransitioners experience a lot of hate, and we're gonna react to some of that hate today. I'm gonna try to be as calm as possible because these types of TikToks makes me so angry you have no idea. The first video I want to show you is a trans guy making fun of detransitioners, and his entire video is sarcasm.
So everyone keeps asking why I'm detransitioning. I basically feel like my doctors forced me to transition. I mean, all I had to do was go in there for multiple visits and say that I was suicidal. My birth gender, had absolutely no attachment to my birth gender, wanted to transition socially and take medication for it, specifically hormones. I listed exactly everything I expected from hormones. They told me all the risks, problems, and complications I could have from taking hormones and their permanent effects. I had to sign an informed consent form. So basically, they forced me to transition. That's kind of on them. Like, how would you let me sign a consent form? Like, why would you let me do that? So now I have to deal with the permanent consequences. So I will be detransitioning thanks to my doctors.
It is true that you hear some detransitioners say that they were forced to go through the medical transition. Do you know why they say that? It's because they were minors. Children cannot consent, period. The definition of force is that you go through something that you didn't consent to, or you couldn't consent to. And since the children cannot consent, they cannot choose hormones. They cannot choose the puberty blockers or the surgeries. Legally, they're not old enough to make those decisions. The parents made the decision for the child. The doctors and therapists made the decision for the child. And that's not okay. Even if you are an adult, if you have severe mental health issues, can you really consent to this treatment that will obviously not benefit you? It'll be different if we're talking about getting a tattoo or piercings. That's up to the person. But the transition is a way to treat a mental disorder. So you could call it medicine. And no matter if you are an adult, 50, 30, if you have depression or you think you have depression, it's not up to you to pick and choose what type of antidepressants you want. That's up to the doctor, it's up to the therapist. You don't have that personal freedom. So this idiot is talking about informed consent. First of all, it's bullshit to believe that doctors, trans doctors, are honest about the side effects. The doctors weren't honest with me, and I was an adult, so I don't even want to think about what they're not saying to children and their parents. And another thing that you gotta remember is that most, I'm just gonna say most, trans doctors and therapists are ideologues. They believe in radical gender and trans ideology, and they don't stick to the facts. If you hear a trans doctor say that puberty blockers are reversible, that's not a real doctor, I'm sorry, but that is a pseudo-doctor. A doctor believing in pseudo-science, and I don't think they should be near children. I really hate this argument coming from the trans community. Well, detransitioners, they've heard exactly what is going to happen if they go on cross-sex hormones. Yet when they actually experience the effects, they act shocked, annoyed, and want to blame the doctors. That's not what it's about. The detransitioners are not surprised that the effects they were told were gonna happen, happened. They were shocked about how the transition made their mental health worse than before they received it. And they're angry at the doctors for not seeing all the symptoms of other mental disorders that they actually deal with instead of gender dysphoria. So it's not about, oh my god, I got a deep voice and a mustache, I did not see that one coming. The detransitioner didn't see it coming that they don't feel good about it. And now they're screwed and they look like the opposite sex, when in reality, they didn't feel like it after all. That is the doctor's fault. It's the doctor's responsibility to treat their patients, and you're not treating a patient if you're not looking into a patient's mental state before permanently changing their bodies. If you're not able to understand that, you're either A, lying and acting like you don't know that that is what it's truly about, which makes you a horrible, horrible person for making fun of mentally vulnerable people, or B, you really think that children are able to consent to this treatment, and that makes you dumb. So either way, buddy, get a new hobby, right? Let's just leave it at that.
Should minors be allowed to transition?
Minors should be allowed to do what their parents allow them to do. They don't do it while they're under your roof. They're going to do it later.
But there are instances where people detransition. How can we protect trans youth that do regret their decision and want to detransition?
You make your decisions, and then you decide to make another decision. That's just life.
It's not about just making another decision if you regret the last one. Like, are you like really, really dumb? If a biological female is going on testosterone for a long time, she will permanently have a deeper voice, facial hair, and a bunch of other things. The effects of testosterone in a biological female are permanent, no matter if the female regrets the transition or not. It doesn't matter. It's a very powerful hormone, and it's absolutely heartbreaking to see all these women, young women who transition when they're minors, regret their transition, and they can't do anything about it. They cannot, listen to me, they cannot do anything about it. Just like trans women can't do anything about their deep voices, the same thing applies for these women we're talking about. Most people who are on cross-sex hormones also get surgeries later on in life. And it breaks my heart to hear these women who thought that they were trans and had gender dysphoria. They didn't, but now they don't have any breasts and they can't breastfeed their children. So don't you dare say, oh, just make another decision if you didn't like the previous one. What actually, what's the matter with you?
Did you know last year 3,000 people under the age of 18 got breast implants? And that's not transitions. 200 kids last year medically transitioned and 3,000 got titties.
Who's saying that it's okay to give breast implants to girls under 18? The only way that these people can sound smart is if they debunk strawman arguments. If you don't think that 200 kids, if that number is even true, if you don't think that 200 kids who got butchered, sterilized, isn't a high number, you're literally a bad person. Like literally. You're literally not one of those people who just mean well. I don't care if it's only 5 kids, 10 kids, or even 1. The number of kids transitioning should be 0. I took a screenshot from this video. There was copyrighted music, of course, and the only thing that the person had to say was this. I block every detransitioners who comes on my For You page, and I'm proud. Those bitches are annoying. I don't care how hard it's been. I hope your life gets harder. Over 1,000 likes. Her name is Ethical Jester. Ethical. Yeah, you seem very, very ethical. Wow. Hashtag detransitioning. Hashtag trans pride. Trans pride has nothing to do with hating on other people. Being trans isn't about hating on other people. And if you think that hating on vulnerable people has anything to do with being trans, it says it all. I don't even hate my past self. I don't even hate the girl version of me. I do not hate. It's not productive to hate, and it's not productive to say, I wish your life gets harder. Even if you think that detransitioners are evil, harming the cause, even if we pretend that's true, why do you wish their lives would get harder? Like, why can't you debate like a normal person? Oh, I know the answer to that. Because you're crazy. She got woke eyes. Can you tell?
Oh my god, so I started taking testosterone like 6 million years ago and went ahead and got all the surgeries. I didn't realize that would make me a man, and I'm pissed about it, so I'm detransitioning. I hate trans people.
If you're really frustrated about detransitioners, let me help you. 99.9% of detransitioners don't hate trans people. Isn't that great news? Doesn't that make you feel better? Oh wait, I forgot, that's not your intentions. That's not the end goal for you, because you always want to be miserable. Then you're the victim, and we have to feel sorry for you. And you really like that attention, don't you?
Let's hear what you got.
All right. Well, these little...
Wrap it up.
Those comments are most likely not transphobic, but thank you for exposing how intolerant you are. If people don't say exactly what you want them to say, you don't respect them, and you don't want to listen to them. Your life is and gonna be tough because, girl, that's not how the world works. And if that's your way of thinking, you will always get disappointed and be miserable. But again, I feel like that's actually the goal here with trans activism. Just be as miserable as possible. And you win.
I'm a detransitioner and I'm frequently called transphobic.
Listen, I am sorry that that is the experience that you had. I can tell you are passionate about helping youth not be put in the same position that you were put in. However, respectfully, this is projection. In the midst of a massive transphobic movement where politicians are literally taking away the rights for people to even access gender affirming care, you are putting yourself in a position where people elevate you. They see that you are speaking from inside the community and it validates their transphobia. And this is often why you are being called transphobic.
I don't think that you truly care about Kat. I don't. So stop pretending, because I think it's embarrassing. No one is taking anyone's rights away. The fact that children in some states cannot medically transition is not taking their rights away from them. It's actually giving them basic rights, human rights. A right for a child to say, I cannot consent to medicine that will permanently alter my body. You're not responsible for what other people say. You're only responsible for what you say. Let detransitioners have a voice. If you see transphobia, then debunk it. But don't tell someone to shut up just because hypothetically an idiot might use what the person said to hate on trans people, all of them. It doesn't make any sense. Then you shouldn't have a voice either. Then you shouldn't be talking because a communist might agree with you, who wants to do horrible things to society or something, right? Then you can say that about literally anyone.
From a medical standpoint, we treat lots of varying conditions, and many people are going to have regret about making decisions about their health care. But what is not correct is to use your isolated incident, your very low percentage of regret, and to demonize the entire medical community, demonize the entire transgender community for wanting to access gender affirming care, which shows vast improvement in most people with their gender dysphoria and very minimal regret. It is very disingenuous and very dangerous to try to gather people to eliminate even having the possibility for people to access transgender healthcare.
So I was right. You don't want detransitioners to have a voice. Wow. Wow. It is not true that most people benefit from a medical transition. So many transition nowadays. It is crazy. It doesn't make sense that there are more trans people now, more than ever, because it's a biological condition to be trans, to have gender dysphoria. We don't see a rise in people dealing with gender dysphoria. We see a rise in medical professionals not doing their damn jobs. The rise in people transitioning nowadays, most of them deal with so many different mental disorders or mental health issues, whatever. And even though all these patients go through different things, suffer from different mental disorders, they all receive the same treatment, a gender transition, and it's not okay, because that will not truly help them. I think that's a given, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. The biggest reason why we're seeing laws changing now in the US is because of trans activists. People have had enough of trans activists. People don't want trans activism. And hypothetically, if the government wants to take away my rights as a real transsexual person, an adult, it's not because of detransitioners. It's because of trans activists. The ones that you're listening to, or what you probably are yourself. We have heard enough about people like me, real transsexuals. I think people get it now, that you can be trans, and you can transition and be okay, and happy with that. Now it's time to highlight detrans stories. It's time to let these people speak. They need the awareness, support, and love. And I'm willing, as a transsexual person, to give that to them. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you want, you can support me with a small donation under Super Thanks. It means the world to me, so thank you, and thank you for supporting me. Click the link down below if you want to become a member of this channel. Remember to follow me on Twitter and on Rumble under the same name. And I'll see you all in my next video. Peace out.